Welcome back to ABC GH Spoilers channel. Today, we're diving into an electrifying episode filled with shocking confrontations, unexpected confessions, and high-stakes warnings. In Port Charles, no secret stays hidden forever, and no threat goes unanswered. Buckle up as we break down the latest gripping moments that will keep you glued to your screen. Jason Morgan's explosive warning. A dangerous standoff at Charlie's Pub is no stranger to tense encounters. But tonight, the temperature is hotter than ever. The dimly lit establishment, known for its friendly atmosphere and cold beers, has become the unlikely setting for an ominous, life-threatening moment. Jason Morgan, the ever-formidable enforcer with a code of honor sharper than steel, stands protectively in front of his son, Danny. On the opposite side of the booth, ex-crime boss turned born-again believer Cyrus Renault sits eerily calm. His fingers rest on Danny's shoulder in what might seem like a benign, even fatherly gesture. Except Jason sees it for what it truly is, a calculated move meant to unnerve him. The entire room feels the chill in the air as the two men lock eyes in a silent battle of wills. "You want to pray?" Jason's voice is low, controlled, and yet carries the weight of an impending storm. "Go ahead, but if you ever lay a hand on my son again, I promise you prayer won't save you." The bar falls silent. Even the usual clatter of glasses and murmured conversations seem to have evaporated. Jason's threat isn't one of empty bravado. Those who know him understand. When he makes a promise like this, it's already decided. Cyrus, despite all his posturing, knows he's treading on thin ice. With one last glare, Jason reaches for Danny's hand, pulling him away. As father and son exit, the tension lingers in the air like a storm cloud waiting to burst. The only question is, when will it strike? Anna Devane's dire warning. Jocelyn Jacks inches closer to danger across town at the PCPD. The atmosphere in Anna Devane's office is tense. An almost tangible energy of concern and frustration thickens the air. Seated across from her, Jocelyn Jacks fidgets, her arms crossed in defiance, her expression a mix of irritation and masked fear. Anna, a woman who has spent years in the intelligence world, has seen more than her fair share of reckless individuals who think they can play hero. Jocelyn, bright and determined as she is, has become one of them, and that terrifies her. "I know you think you're helping," Anna says, her voice calm but firm. "But this is not a game, Jocelyn. This isn't some amateur detective novel where the young heroine outsmarts the villain. You're walking into something bigger than you realize." Jocelyn shifts in her seat, her jaw tightening. "I'm not a child," she says through clenched teeth. "I know what I'm doing." Anna leans forward, her sharp blue eyes locking onto Jocelyn's. "Do you?" she asks. "Do you really? Because I can tell you exactly how this plays out. You keep feeding Brennan information. You keep chasing after the idea that you can take down Cyrus on your own. And then, one night, you won't come home. Your mother will sit by the phone, waiting for a call that never comes. And I'll be the one standing in front of Carly, telling her I failed to stop this." The words hit like a gut punch. Jocelyn swallows hard. Anna straightens, her tone softening, though the urgency remains. "You're not trained for this, and you are being used." For a long moment, Jocelyn doesn't speak. Then, finally, she exhales, the fire in her eyes dimming just slightly. Maybe, just maybe, she's starting to understand. Carly Spencer and Jack Brennan. A night of flirtation or manipulation. In the heart of Port Charles, at an upscale restaurant bathed in warm candlelight, Carly Spencer sits across from Jack Brennan, an enigmatic man whose charm could disarm even the sharpest of minds. The chemistry between them is undeniable. But beneath the flirtatious smiles and the gentle laughter, an undercurrent of something darker lingers. Brennan swirls his glass of whiskey, studying Carly with a gaze that is both alluring and unreadable. You know, he says, his voice smooth as silk. People like us, we don't get many things we can truly control in this world. Carly raises an eyebrow, intrigued. Is that right? And what do you think you can control, Jack? He leans in just slightly, his voice dipping lower. Outcomes, emotions, people. Carly's smile falters for the briefest of moments. It's the way he says it, not boastfully, but as if it's a fact, as if it's already happening. Brennan is dangerous. Not in the way Jason is. Jason's danger is blunt force, raw power. Brennan? His danger is subtle, insidious. He's the kind of man who doesn't have to raise his voice to make a point. The kind of man who can make a person believe they're making their own choices, all while he's been pulling the strings the entire time. And Carly? She's walked this road before. The only question is, will she fall for it this time? Nina Reeves' shocking confession. A truth that could change everything at Cafe Sherry, a cozy little corner of Port Charles where secrets have a way of surfacing. Nina Reeves sits across from Willow Corinthos, her heart pounding against her ribcage. What I'm about to tell you, she begins, her voice trembling slightly, is going to change everything. Willow, ever composed, meets her mother's gaze with a mix of curiosity and wariness. She's learned by now that with Nina, there's always something lurking beneath the surface. I kept something from you, Nina continues, choosing her words carefully. Something about Drew. Willow stiffens. What about Drew? For the first time in her life, Nina hesitates. Because if she speaks this truth, if she lets it out into the world, there is no going back. And yet, in the end, there is only one choice. Later, as the chaos subsides, Jason sits down with his son, speaking in a hushed but firm tone. If Danny is going to survive in this world, he needs to understand one thing. True power is not in reckless threats, but in the ability to control one's actions until the perfect moment. Jason isn't just protecting Danny. He's preparing him. Jocelyn Jack's dangerous game. Anna's desperate intervention. Across town, Anna Devane paces inside her office, her sharp eyes scanning the young woman sitting before her. Jocelyn Jacks, fearless to a fault, meets Anna's gaze with a mix of defiance and apprehension. She knew this conversation was coming, just not this soon. This little game you're playing, Anna says, her voice cutting through the tension like a blade, could cost you your life. Jocelyn swallows hard. She understands the risks, or at least she thinks she does. In her mind, she's merely infiltrating Cyrus, Renault's world, gathering intel to bring him down. But Anna, with years of experience in the intelligence field, sees the cracks in Jocelyn's plan. You're in over your head, Anna continues. Cyrus isn't just some local criminal you can manipulate. Carly Spencer, ever the strong-willed survivor, sits across from Jack Brennan, a man who exudes an air of dangerous charisma. There is very little that can stop me, Brennan murmurs, his fingers casually swirling the amber liquid in his glass. His voice is smooth, calculated, every word chosen with precision. Carly meets his gaze, her expression unreadable. She knows exactly what he's referring to. He's aware that her friends and family have tried to dissuade her from spending time with him. He knows that Jason, Sonny, and even Anna have all warned her about him. And yet, here she is, still intrigued, still drawn to the mystery that surrounds him. You sound awfully sure of yourself, Carly replies, tilting her head slightly. That's dangerous. Brennan smirks. Dangerous? Or inevitable? There's something unsettling about the way he says it, something that makes Carly question whether she's playing the game, or if she's already become a piece in his. Nina Reeves' confession. A truth that could ruin everything. At Cafe Sherry, the atmosphere is deceptively calm. The clinking of coffee cups, the murmur of nearby conversations. None of it matches the tension between Nina Reeves and Willow Corinthos, who sit across from each other, locked in an unspoken battle. Nina takes a steadying breath. What I'm about to say to you is not easy. Willow raises an eyebrow, skeptical. Nina's history of withholding the truth precedes her. But this time, the weight in her voice suggests something different. I need you to know the truth about Drew, Nina says. For a long moment, Willow doesn't speak. Then, finally, she leans forward slightly, her voice laced with suspicion. What about him? Nina hesitates, because the truth, if spoken, could change everything. Elizabeth and Lucky, a case that feels unsolvable. Inside Charlie's pub, Elizabeth Baldwin and Lucky Spencer sit at a dimly lit booth, their hushed conversation carrying the weight of their frustrations. We might be farther away than ever, Elizabeth murmurs, staring down at the drink in her hand. Lucky sighs. The investigation into the Digitalis killer has hit a dead end, and the recent developments have only complicated things further. Danny accused Cyrus of killing his mother, Elizabeth continues. But what if that just made things worse? What if we were actually close to the truth before, and now we've lost our way? Lucky rubs his temples. The stakes are higher than ever. If they're wrong, more people could die. If they're right, then someone very powerful has been manipulating the investigation from the start. One thing is certain, they can't afford to stop now. Kai and Trina. A conversation that leaves a lasting impression the night air is crisp as Kai Taylor and Trina Robinson linger outside PCU. The conversation between them stretching long after their initial discussion about Emma Scorpio Drake's charity event. You know, Kai says finally, his voice softer now. Those are good words to live by. Trina smiles. Throughout their conversation, she has unknowingly given him a new perspective, one that shakes him out of the self-doubt he had been drowning in. You just have to trust yourself, she says, her voice gentle but firm. No one else gets to decide what kind of person you are except you. Kai nods, taking in her words. Maybe, just maybe, Trina Robinson is the kind of person who changes people without even realizing it. And that's a wrap on today's GH Spoilers. Secrets are unraveling, threats are escalating, and the lives of Port Charles's most beloved residents are hanging in the balance. What do you think will happen next? Will Jocelyn pull back before she gets in too deep? Will Nina's confession push Willow further away? And is Jason's threat to Cyrus one he'll have to make good on? Next, we're diving into a long-buried secret that could shake Port Charles to its core. What if the past isn't as forgotten as some would like to believe? What if powerful connections and well-kept confidences were at play behind the scenes? Stick with us as we uncover the mystery that could change everything for Brooklyn Quartermain and those closest to her. The mystery of Sonny Corinthos' secret role in Joe's adoption for years. Sonny Corinthos has made it his mission to protect those he cares about, often working in the shadows to safeguard their best interests. But what if one of his deepest secrets involved Brooklyn Quartermain's past? It has long been assumed that only Lois Chirulo and Brooklyn knew about the child Brooklyn gave up for adoption in her teenage years. However, a new theory suggests that Sonny, Brooklyn's longtime family friend and Dante Falconeri's father, might have known more than he ever let on. Over the years, Sonny's seemingly random acts of generosity and his unwavering protectiveness toward Brooklyn may not have been coincidental. What if Sonny had played an integral role in the adoption of Brooklyn's son, Giovanni Gio Palmieri? Could it be that his power and influence extended beyond protecting his own children, and that he used his reach to ensure Gio ended up in the right home? There have been whispers about a mysterious benefactor keeping an eye on Joe's life. If Sonny was aware of his grandson's existence all along, this would explain a lot. His discreet financial support, his careful guidance over Brooklyn's choices, and his subtle interest in her well-being. If true, This revelation would send shockwaves through Port Charles. Why did Sonny keep it a secret? Was it out of loyalty to Lois? Out of respect for Brooke Lynn's decision? Or was he simply protecting his family from a truth they weren't ready to face? Did Sonny Corinthos and Lois Cerullo work together? One of the most intriguing possibilities is that Lois and Sonny orchestrated the adoption together. Their bond stretches back to childhood, a friendship that has withstood the trials of time, personal hardships, and complicated family ties. Given their deep-rooted connection, it's not far-fetched to believe that Lois might have confided in Sonny about Brooke Lynn's pregnancy. Perhaps Sonny, with his endless resources and ability to fix delicate situations, arranged the adoption to ensure that Brooke Lynn's son had a secure future without disrupting the life she was meant to live. The more we think about it, the more it makes sense. Sonny has always been a man who takes care of his own, and if there was even the slightest chance that this child was part of his bloodline, he would have moved mountains to guarantee his safety. And what about Lois? Could she have deliberately omitted this detail when speaking with Marty Gray, choosing instead to stick to the version of the story where she and Brooke Lynn were the only ones who knew? Was it an effort to protect Sonny's involvement, or was she trying to keep an even bigger secret under wraps? This opens the door to an even more compelling question. Was Brooke Lynn ever truly in control of the decision to give up her child, or was her path already decided for her by those who thought they were acting in her best interest? The hidden truth about Brooke Lynn's teen pregnancy. Long before she became the confident, ambitious woman she is today, Brooke Lynn Quartermaine was a teenager caught in the whirlwind of young love and unexpected responsibility. Her relationship with Dante Falconeri was passionate, but fleeting, a moment in time that left a lasting mark on both of them. What no one ever suspected was that their brief romance resulted in a secret pregnancy, one that Brooke Lynn, overwhelmed and unprepared, had no idea how to handle. She gave birth to a baby boy, Giovanni Gio Palmieri, at a very young age. The decision to give him up was not an easy one, but at the time, it seemed like the only viable option. What remains unclear is how much influence Lois and Sonny truly had over the decision. While Ned Quartermaine was kept completely in the dark, it is entirely possible that Dante's father was not. Would Sonny have really denied Lois the insight of knowing that her grandson was okay? More importantly, would he have denied himself the right to ensure the child's safety? If Sonny was indeed in the loop, this could explain so many unanswered questions about why Joe's adoption remains such a well-guarded secret. Why would Lois hide the truth from Marty Gray? At first glance, it might seem strange that Lois would withhold such a major detail from Martin Gray, who has proven himself to be a trusted confidant. However, when considering the delicate nature of this revelation, it becomes clear that Lois might have been acting out of protection rather than deception. If Sonny was involved in any way, revealing the truth could have serious consequences, not just for him, but for Brooke Lynn, Dante, and even Gio himself. Furthermore, there's the matter of control. Lois has always been fiercely independent, and she might have felt that the details of Brooke Lynn's past were hers to manage. Bringing more people into the fold could have risked exposing the truth before she was ready to face the repercussions. But the bigger question looms. How long can Lois keep this secret buried? What happens if the truth comes out? If Sonny truly played a part in Joe's adoption, the fallout could be immense. Brooke Lynn may feel betrayed, knowing that her mother and Sonny had a hand in something she believed she controlled. Dante could struggle with the idea that he unknowingly fathered a child and had no say in his future. Ned Quartermaine might finally learn the truth that was kept from him for years, causing major family tension. Gio himself could re-enter the picture, creating complications for everyone involved. This revelation could change everything in ways no one saw coming. If Sonny really did know about Gio all along, his protective actions, financial support, and subtle guidance over Brooke Lynn would suddenly make much more sense. But the question remains, will he ever come clean?